Hello and welcome to In Review, the show where I review things and give my general opinion on social issues and such. Today we got a good video column for you about the Colin Kaepernick Nike ad. So enjoy. This is my first ever video, so I'm sorry if it sucks. So today we're going to talk about Nike's recent iteration of its Just Do It campaign, which uses NFL free agent Colin Kaepernick as its face. If you're unfamiliar with the situation with Colin Kaepernick, and his protests on the national anthem, you should probably buy yourself a computer or a smartphone because this issue has taken the internet by storm for the last few years. It started 2 years ago as a protest by Kaepernick when he was playing for the San Francisco 49ers to speak out against injustice against black people, saying, and I quote, "I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street, and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder." Which is a fair point to make, and he probably didn't say it with that intonation, because that's from a news article. But, for millions of Americans, flag has failed them. And this protest came at a time of particularly high racial tensions, fueled by disgusting abuses of power from the police, and was caught on camera. Most notably that of Eric Garner, who was strangled to death, in which, the officers involved ended up not being indicted. And that's the sad reality of many of these cases, where police officers are able to kill minorities and get away with it with little to no repercussions. This was also the year of Donald Trump's anti-immigrant and arguably racist Make America Great Again campaign, which if you've seen Spike Lee's new film BlacKkKlansman, you'll know that exact slogan was once used by the KKK's very own David Duke, who has dubious ties to Trump. The Nike ad campaign in question was initially comprised of a series of images with famous athletes like Serena Williams shot in black and white with white text superimposed over them. And this seems to be what people are mainly reacting to in the form of the Kaepernick ad, which features a close-up of his face that says, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." The ad has led to both praise and backlash, as some commended Nike for this bold move, of which I'm one of, while others have gone so far as to cutting off the Nike swoosh from their gear, and some are even burning it, to which the internet has collectively responded, Nike doesn't really care if you burn the products you already bought. That's already money that you gave them. That doesn't do anything to them or their stocks. But like most social issues online, this is just a big mess. Case for the ad, which I do agree with, is to commend Kaepernick for sticking with his protest, even though he is forced out of playing for the 49ers. And then there's the whole business of the new anti-kneeling policy during the national anthem that all of the NFL owners approve, every single one of them. And there's also a lawsuit against said owners and the NFL in general that basically says that they colluded to keep Kaepernick from playing from any NFL team, which very well might be the case. And of course with most things, the story isn't as black and white as it seems. There's some good arguments for both sides. Good arguments for defending our veterans, good arguments that this is actually more respectful for our veterans than standing. And I actually have to side with Kaepernick on this. Our country was not established just so we can have blind loyalty to our flag. It was established almost exclusively so our country could adapt and change as a result of a highly critical public. And I really don't see kneeling as a form of disrespect to our country, nor to our armed forces, considering that Kaepernick was urged by a veteran to kneel, as kneeling is something you do to honor a fallen comrade at their grave. In a way, it's as if Kaepernick is honoring all those who died of police brutality. And there's something that I think is very mature and respectful with that gesture. But nevertheless, people get offended. And this is where I have to bring up a really tough point that might make a lot of you tune out from the get-go. And that is, just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right. It doesn't mean you're entitled to action. You can be mistaken. And sometimes your opinion is right nor wrong. With this, I think it has to do with an interpretation of what the kneeling means. To some, you're being disrespectful to the flag. To others, you're being respectful in a different sort of way, in a more meaningful way. But nevertheless, when you have a very gray issue like this, I think it's very dangerous to demand simple action because it's inappropriate. I think it was very inappropriate for the NFL to take the stance that they did, especially when they knew that Kaepernick's intent was not to disrespect the military, but to get police reform. But this brings up a lot of hard questions that we need to answer. First and foremost of which is, what exactly does it mean to respect our armed forces? I don't know about you, but to me, creating an America where we throw them into perpetual, unnecessary wars, oftentimes in impoverished countries, is not being very respectful to them. I don't think it's respectful to have an America where they can come home and have to worry about healthcare or where they're going to live. I think when you put your life on the line for this country should take care of you to some extent. I don't think we should have homeless veterans at all, period. We give so much money to our military-industrial complex and not nearly enough to the people that actually matter. When do we actually talk about the needs of our armed forces? Certainly not now, during this kneeling controversy. We don't say anything when we're sending them to another country from which they might not return, one they might not need to even be in. I have to ask, where's the outrage when the president wants to send troops to Syria for no reason? Well, there is a reason. It's to defend our interests in the oil industry over there. And it's mainly to benefit large companies and not the average American. Why are we sending soldiers to defend the interests of the 1%? And I think it's also disgusting that this conversation of disrespecting veterans does not come up when Congress is about to cut their health care. I think this kind of reveals how very two-sided people are. People will use the armed forces as an excuse to justify their own offense. In a way, that's kind of sad and pathetic, that you're using soldiers to prop up some political agenda. I think the most ironic moment of this whole story, though, came when Donald Trump tweeted that it was hard for him to watch the NFL because a player's not standing for the flag. Come on, man. This is Trump, He pocketed a Purple Heart like it was nothing. He has absolutely no perception of what it means to serve your country because he hasn't given up anything save maybe living in a mansion for 4 years, which he probably is able to visit as much as he wants. And I think back to that moment where he pocketed that Purple Heart because that's a medal that he has no clue what it means. And he has no, Trump does not have the ability, neither in his character nor in his heart, to earn a Purple Heart. Trump's a draft dodger and he's wasting millions of dollars on a stupid military parade that he could be using to actually serving the needs of our veterans who desperately need it. I think instead of lashing out at people for kneeling at the flag, we should use that energy to be critical of our government. Criticism, by the way, is good for any organization. And when you have a president or any sort of boss that suggests that you should attack critics out of a sense of perceived loyalty, I think that should be incredibly warning. The only people that can't take criticism, by the way, are those that are either incompetent or unwilling to change. And our president is both of those things. I think to some extent the NFL is too. And of course, they could also be doing something that they know is wrong. I think in this case, the NFL kind of knows that silencing Kaepernick was the wrong move. I think a lot of fans know that too. But I think the main takeaway from this entire story is this. There definitely is a vile political game that we're not used to seeing in the NFL and in our sports teams. And I think Kaepernick's shown a very bright light on that. And I don't think it's going to go away or recede into the shadows anytime soon. And the league's reaction to this has only made that even more prevalent. We know where the NFL stands on this issue, and we kind of know what their political affiliations are now. That's not a question I ever even thought to ask, because I only saw these sports leagues as things that existed just for my entertainment. Now, just exactly what this political game inside the NFL is, we're probably never going to know fully. But like any organization, there's backroom deals, there is loyalties, there's a lot of things you don't see behind the scenes. And I think this story gave us a peek that a little unsavory to say the least. Why, hello there. Looks like you made it to the end of the video. For that, I congratulate you. If you have any suggestions on how I can improve my content, be sure to let me know in the comments. Like I said, criticism is a good thing, even for the critic. If you want to see me do anything else, be sure to let me know as well. I'm always open to new ideas. Until next time, I will see you later. Or maybe I won't, and this will be the only video I'll ever make in my life. Goodbye.